In this video, we'll be covering how premium brands trick your brain and the psychology behind it that makes you instantly trust them, and how you can implement some of these things in your branding and your business so you can implement these things for customers to trust you. So the main idea is your brain judges brands instantly, and people decide whether they will or not buy from your business within seconds. It's not from logic, it's from their perception of your brand and your business. So your brain instantly thinks and sees the brand, and then it decides whether or not to trust your business, and that converts into a purchase. The first technique is using space. So the less clutter, the more confidence and premium your brand seems and is perceived. So on the left, you have a premium logo. I'm pretty sure you guys know the Airbnb logo, and not afraid to just have an empty space around it because they let the brand breathe and speak for itself. And then a cheap example of this is having like multiple different colors, like really cluttered information, all like fitting into one page. And it really doesn't seem like you want to trust this kind of brand, and you want to trust these kind of people to buy something and use their services. So for example, even Apple leaves huge gap and spacing in their branding. They're confident in their products that they offer, and they don't need to clutter people with a lot of information. The second thing is typography. Typography actually builds trust and sparks different communication of personality. So depending on your brand, you need to sit down and really think about the type you're using, because different typefaces have different personality, reflect a different kind of image. So here are three different types. You got the serif for Rolex, that is talking about like heritage and trust. You got the bold sans that talks about confidence and power, like Nike. And then you got a round sans, friendly and human is what is perceived as. The third thing is color. Color triggers different emotions, and it becomes a mental shortcut. Eventually, you don't even need a logo. Like, these brands have put these colors in place, and you've seen them so many times. As soon as you see the color, you recognize them instantly. For example, the McDonald's, they're known for the golden arc, using the colors of red and yellow. The Airbnb logo is pink and makes you think of belonging. And the Apple keeps things simple, and they have the black and white, really simple kind of color scheme. Then you have the Rolex owning prestige, and Tiffany owning exclusivity. So these colors are really important for your branding. It makes a huge difference depending on the color that you go for and the kind of message you want to convey. Moving on to point number 4 is consistency. Consistency creates familiarity, and this builds trust instantly with repetition. And premium brands usually stay really consistent throughout because they just put the same logo on everything they own, from their website, store, packaging, phone, advertising, everything that they ever post or put out. They have the same consistent logo throughout, and this becomes a really good tool and technique, especially if you want people to recognize you and trust you instantly. I would highly recommend having just one type of logo, an icon for your brand and your business, and just conveying the same message over and over again, because repetition creates familiarity, and this can convert into trust, which later converts into sales. Point number 5 is photography sells emotion, and you have these 4 pillars here below. So in Apple, for example, you have creativity. With Nike is ambition. Airbnb is belonging, and with Rolex is status. So these emotions are extremely important because they've positioned themselves. As soon as you see them, you know what they stand for and their values, and you buy the feeling, not the product. So the psychology behind this is creating the halo effect. One premium detail makes the whole brand feel premium before anyone tries the product. Our brain usually assumes a higher quality, higher level of service, and higher value. And that's why a lot of people are more than happy to pay the premium price for it, because this is how they position themselves in the market. And for your business, I would recommend not to copy these brands, just learning the few principles that they've put in place. And that is space, typography, color, consistency, and photography. You want it to have the same kind of tone consistently throughout, so that you don't confuse people and you're always saying the same thing, because repetition creates familiarity, and this is what builds trust. So keep this in mind when you're coming up with your logo and implementing these design principles, because this keeps consistency, and this is really important for your business, especially early on. The final lesson and the key takeaway here is people buy with emotion and then they justify it with logic. So look at these branding we mentioned earlier. You have full trust in these branding, even with the high price point. You can justify it because you think that they are premium, they give you that quality of service, and they've positioned themselves long enough and consistently enough in the market to make you feel like that. So your branding usually shapes that emotion long before the price ever does. If you want a brand that instantly builds that trust and you want to discuss anything that we've covered today, feel free to book a 30-minute consultation call, absolutely free. I will review your brand and see if I can be any of help to you and see what we can do to help you forward. Click the first link in bio and book a call with me. Thank you once again for listening and watching my video. I'll see you on the next one.